What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Are you sure?
Yeah. This is like the third time I'm trying to
that's
do
why
this
I'm
introduction,
asking.
but I'm doing good, doing great here on Team Chat Podcast, a weekly video game show where, like I said, we talk about video games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central Time, and you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as watch a video version on YouTube of each episode. A complete list of all the places the show is available is on our website at teamchatpodcast.com/where to listen. You can also find us on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Join our Discord server. Links for all that are in the description below. And finally, if you would like to help us make the show bigger and better, you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episodes early, some other early access to some other fun little tidbits, a special Discord channel on our server, and a lot of good stuff like that. But if you can't do that, that's totally fine. We'd completely understand, but we would appreciate your support in either some subscribes, writing a review, telling your friends. All those things help make the show bigger and better as well, and we are very appreciative for everyone who is here listening, and a special big thank you to our patrons.
Indeed.
Look, Sam's here as well.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
When did you get here?
She just popped in.
That was weird.
But so she's going to be talking to us
that
about a
chair
fun
was
little
empty,
game.
and then there she
Then
was.
she just popped in. But she's going to be talking about a game that she recently played on the Nintendo Switch, one that she enjoyed. But we'll get to that after our moment with Mogan.
In case you missed it, on November 22nd, Civilization 6 came to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One,
Very
along
nice.
with Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Both of those were on November 22. Coming very soon, Arise, A Simple Story for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on December 3rd. Also on the 3rd, Halo Reach for the Xbox One.
It's coming to the Master Chief Collection, I think.
Oh, I see. Fancy. That's the first Halo I've seen on the
In a long
list
time
in
since-
30 years.
I know, it's been a while since Halo 5.
Also on December 3rd, Life is Strange 2, Episode 5.
There
We
it
are
is.
actually going to be playing that, of course, and finally finishing
I know.
our review of the entire game.
A full recap of that whole
yeah.
Life is Strange 2.
Whole ordeal. So that's also on December 3. That's for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Also on the 3rd, Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch. Saga Scarlet Grace for PlayStation 4, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android. I saw the iOS and Android in my peripheral vision, and it kind of like startled me. That's just why that was kind of awkward. That's also on December 3. Also on December 3rd, these are all coming out on December 3rd. Terminator Resistance for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And finally, Darksiders Genesis for Stadia and PC on December 5.
For what? What was the first thing?
Stadia.
What is
It's
that?
It's Google Stadia. It's Google's attempt at a streaming video game service. It really sucks right
cloud.
now to the cloud. It's not. It might eventually not suck, but it currently isn't good. So don't get it yet if you're going to get it at all.
Just hold
Don't
off.
encourage
Hold off for
them,
a little
people.
bit.
Everybody hold off. Anyways, that's my 2 cents about that. So those are all your video games.
Well, there we go. Lots
Coming
of good
soon.
stuff coming out soon. So now, turning to my beautiful bride, Samantha White Wilson. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
You're not my
good.
bride,
I mean, I know
but
how
I think
you are
you're
'cause
beautiful.
I've been with you all day. Thanks.
Now
So-
it's my turn to play Mario.
So Sam, you recently played because you started to grow tired of
I
your
got very
Stardew
bored
Valley
with Stardew because there's not much left to do on my farm, and I don't want to start a new one until we get all those updates. When do we get the updates?
We get the updates. So
you
Stardew
said by the end of
Valley,
the
in
year.
case nobody was aware, Stardew Valley is getting a crap ton of updates, supposedly within the end of this year. All the updates are going to be coming to PC first, and then in theory, they're coming to console just a couple of weeks after that. The new updates include an entirely new map specifically for co-op mode.
Ooh.
So it's going to be really good for people like you, and maybe even me. Maybe I'll have a guest house on your farm.
Hell yeah.
To actually be able to play co-op together and have separate gold amounts. So it'll be like you finally have your own money and you're not constantly having to fight each other for what you're going to buy.
We haven't really played co-op. We just
Yeah.
tested it out that one time.
I think it'd be more fun at this point, though, for us to start
If
a
you
co-op.
started
Yeah,
one, I
that's
think
true.
it works
You know?
better that way.
Yeah, because yours was set up like a nightmare, and I would not want to farm on it.
I understand.
But see, that's why it would be good, because we start a new farm, and it's like for a while you can set up all the the crops and however you want to do it.
Yep,
I can
yep.
handle the animals and all
Yep.
that stuff and have them set up in my own special way. See, that's really the best way to do
Yeah,
it.
so
Jumping
we
in
do
the
need to
middle
do that.
was not going to work out as well. That's hard because
Maybe we'll do it with all the updates.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be good.
Some of the other updates are a new 14 heart event for you and your spouse, so you'll be able to unlock more content than ever, and new hatcheries like ponds for your farm as well, so that you can actually raise fish on your farm.
That's cool.
Which, if you
That's
didn't
fun.
start with like the ocean themed farm layout, is probably a big deal for you.
Yeah, I didn't. I started with the forest.
I don't know what I started
think I started
with.
on forest.
I don't even remember.
I think
I
you're the
think
standard one.
Me and you
that.
are both standard. You did the forest
Right.
one.
Which I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I did actually make a co-op map because I was like, well, my friends want to join me, and we tried it for a little bit, and then I never touched it again. So my co-op map is currently terrible, but someday it will be better? ?
Sure.
We'll see.
Awesome. So you got tired of playing Stardew. You wanted to branch off into something else, and you discovered a brand new game that also fit into the requirements that you love for things
Yeah,
you love
should
in
be no
games.
surprise here.
So why don't
No
you tell
talking, no story.
No, totally unnecessary.
Us, it's just action after action after action.
All I
So-
do is push buttons real fast.
So what is this game? Tell us all about it.
I it was only like $1.99. That was why I even bought it
Yeah,
because
it
I
was on
want the
sale.
Yoshi thing, but it's like 60 or something,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yoshi's Crafted
and I don't want to pay
World.
for that. So I downloaded Food Truck Tycoon, which was $1.99 or $2.99
Yeah,
in the
something.
store, very cheap.
Even though they're only $2, I never have the confidence to buy games that are that cheap because I'm like, something's wrong with them.
Well,
See,
I
it
don't
seems
think
almost like a
anything's
mo-
wrong
it would
with
be a
You're
it.
mobile
braver
game.
than I am.
I don't think anything's wrong with it. I think I beat it in like 6 hours, and that's why it's $2 or $3.
Because I mean, from what I saw and everything, it's a very simple game.
Oh,
It's
super
It's
simple.
not like it's not
It's
Breath of
like-
the Wild by any means.
It's like Overcooked for one person.
oh,
Which really
So-
does actually sound pretty appealing to
Yeah.
me because I liked Overcooked, but since I live alone and do not have a spouse, it's like, oh.
And it's like a simplified Overcooked. It's way easy.
Because
you have
Overcooked-
people coming up to the truck and placing an order, and you just like cook and give them their plate. And
Oh, you don't have like competing orders or like, oh, that sounds really
well, I
nice.
mean, you may have more than one customer at a time.
Gotcha. Okay.
but so the mechanics of it are very similar to Overcooked.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yep.
basically people come up, they have an order, you have to cook the ingredients, you clean, and then you feed them and all this stuff. Oh, sure.
Hi, Fender.
Make yourself
Fender
cozy.
loves
Fender just
Food
laid
Truck
right
Tycoon.
in the 6 inches behind my legs in the wall.
Good boy.
He's just staying cozy. He's staying cozy. So so it started out easy because I remember when it started off and everything, you were like,
I
this
was
is
like,
actually
oh, this
pretty
is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe like 2 hours later, I was like, I can really stay alive. And then in 4 more hours, I had totally beat the game. So there's not a lot to do. There's not a lot of trophies to get. It's mostly just like there's 60 levels, and they each take like a couple of minutes each. So it's mostly just getting to the end. And
But like for the full completion and everything, is you just going through and you do three stars, right? It's just like an Overcooked, you're trying to get a certain amount of stars based
Yep.
on your points.
Yeah.
And do you get like a score modifier or anything like that as you're doing like multiple things in a row?
You
or
get
is it just
tips.
Like, okay.
they do tip you.
Okay.
There are a few. One of the trophies, because there were a handful of trophies, is something like a certain number of happy customers in a row. But that was insanely easy, and got it on my first run through. And
And wasn't one of them like you had to lose 6 in a row, so you just like threw 6
you had to
games?
lose 2 in a row, 4 in a row, and 6 in a row. Wow. So I had to just sit there and wait because it's impossible to lose
Yeah.
these. And now I don't even. It happened so fast. I don't even remember what I was cooking.
I know there was hot dogs, corn dogs.
Oh, you're right.
It was like fair food basically kind of
Are
stuff.
any
was
of them like those fancy
Soda.
Asian Mexican fusion places
No.
where it's like a wrap and they put like waffle fries in it,
No,
and then there's
definitely
also
not.
like the spicy mayo, and it's delicious.
Right, like Mighty
Actually,
Cone
you
or
know how
something?
it is different than Overcooked? Because in Overcooked, each level is like a different kind of food. This was all the same food. You start with hot
Oh.
dogs, and then it slowly builds. So level 1 is only hot dogs, and level 60 still includes hot dogs. But you've added corn dogs, soda.
Yeah, I
How
did
do
like
you
that this
make
one does
soda?
soda. Had
There's
soda.
a soda machine, and you have to push the button to make the soda come out, and then you have to push the button to stop it or it overflows.
Oh, that's
you can
actually
burn
kinda funny.
stuff. Your ice cream can melt.
Do you
Oh,
make
really?
burgers?
If you wait too long, I didn't know you had ice
So
cream.
you can't like pre-make desserts because it'll melt, and then you have to trash it.
Oh,
That's cool.
that's a
Yeah.
good
and
idea.
you can so another way it's different than Overcooked. You start out with only 2 plates, I think, and 1 frying pan, and you can spend your money or your coins or whatever it is to buy more plates and more frying pans.
See,
and
that's realistic. Because if you are a small business owner like a food truck, you've got to buy all that shit yourself.
Well, I remember that too, because when you were playing it, you kept being like, I only have one burner. Then by the end,
and I'd have like 4 customers wait. Well, I didn't realize at that point because I was just playing level
You
1,
weren't
level 2,
stopping the
level.
levels
Yeah,
after-
I didn't
in
go
between
back
each one.
and go to the menu.
Yeah.
And then I realized you could buy more frying pans and things.
Well, I guess maybe it would have been a little bit more user-friendly if they had integrated that like shop interface in between
You have to go back to the
levels.
menu to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably why it was $1.99.
Yeah, probably.
It's those
hella
nice
fun for
little
6 hours.
UI things that really make the difference.
Indeed.
I didn't mind it.
But
I really liked it.
So it's a super quick, super easy, little fun game. Very nice. If you're
Highly recommend.
If you're a fan of Overcooked and you just get too frustrated playing it by yourself, because I mean, Overcooked by yourself is very difficult because that's when you have to
It's
control
so hard.
two chefs, right?
Yeah, it's impossible.
Do you really?
You can.
Oh.
It's like
Yeah, I guess for some of the levels it's kind of required. I think
because
that
like
is
how the
right.
level's laid out. So I think depending on
Yeah.
each one, it makes you, which is impossible because you're basically trying to use one hand on your same controller to operate 2 different chefs. And then
Yeah,
you're
it's too hard.
Yeah,
You have
it's
to be
too
a drummer
much.
to do it.
Yeah, really.
Now, I did have at least maybe like a tiny leg up because I've played Pikmin 2, which has you controlling 2 little dudes at separate times. So I at least like mentally had the divide going.
Yeah,
just
see-
not
Oh,
the
I couldn't even
just not
try.
the physical.
For me, being one
capabilities.
who's not good at multitasking anyway, trying to throw in that
Understatement
little
of the
bit
century.
Yeah, no, it just didn't work out very well at all. So you played that one, beat it in 6 hours. Though, Food Truck Tycoon,
Which
so
was
it's-
almost one day, by the way.
Yeah,
I woke up
I
the
mean-
next morning and had to do like another hour, and then it was done.
because you like straight up beat it. Like it wasn't you just beat all 60 levels. You went back.
Oh no, I
3-star.
did it all. Yeah, I 3-starred
okay, so
everything.
it's
I got all the
100%
trophies.
completion.
I bought all the things you can buy. Oh, because you can also buy kitchen upgrades, and then you can also buy interior design. So you can buy like fancy umbrellas and chairs for your patio.
Do you ever get to like customize the exterior of your food truck?
Just that umbrellas, chairs. You can like make
You
your
can't like
patio look
repaint
prettier.
it. Oh. Well, still that's nice.
Yeah.
Just a little customer-friendly upgrade.
Yeah.
But the big knock against it though is that there's only the one chef and you don't ever get to see the chefs, right? Because
Yeah,
you
no,
don't
you
get to
don't.
you don't get to choose
I didn't get
skins
to be a
and
cat
new-
chef like in Overcooked.
Yeah.
What? Wait, you never see the chef?
No,
Because
your
it's
view
you,
is
it's
like
first
the
person.
truck and then the customers. So you don't see.
Oh,
You don't even
You're
see your
just a-
hands or
yeah,
anything.
no.
It's
Yeah,
first person. That's
yeah.
all you had to
You
say.
see a cursor.
Don't you play video games, Jared?
I do every once in a while. I try. But so you beat that one and had a bunch of fun with it. And so since you beat that one so quick, you then moved on to.
So then I
Another
went
one.
back into the Nintendo
Gosh,
store.
Sam, you're really gaming now.
I know she's
You're
a real
gamer.
It's awesome. I
You've
love it so
done
much.
it.
Also, isn't it funny that this is yellow? The Game
Yeah.
Boy Color that is the background of Team Chat is mine from childhood, and my little Nintendo Switch is also yellow.
You just like yellow.
You like what you
things.
like, you
Little
know?
cute matchy matchy.
And you made yourself a little yellow Christmas tree, a Christmas tree
I
made with full
did.
yellow things to decorate our home with.
did.
It's wonderful.
Okay, anyway, so yesterday or 2 days ago,
Yeah, a couple.
sometime
days
this week, I went back into the Nintendo shop and looked back at games on deals. That's why I bought it. It was in the deals section because they were
Nice.
so cheap. And found another game, also $1.99 or $2.99, called Pet Shop Snacks,
Oh my what?
which is the exact same thing, only you're making food for pets.
Oh my god.
It literally
That's
is.
really
She showed it to me.
silly.
It's the same developer, same
Oh, it's
everything.
even the
Yep.
same developer.
It is literally the
It's
same
identical.
game,
Oh, that's
just
funny.
reskinned.
You just have kibble and sausages. No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tell me what the pets
It happens
eat.
so
I'm really
fast that I
invested.
don't even remember what it is.
Did you already beat it? I
No,
guess?
not yet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
you showed it to me. It was like it's like kibbles and like
is
some
it
other
sausage,
little treats.
though?
Yeah, there's still some sausage and different stuff like that. But
Do you
yeah,
It must
it's-
be. And then there's no, it's not sausage because
Is it kielbasa?
no, it must be. And then there's meat.
just foods that
it
pets
just says
like,
meat,
you know.
kibble, and then your soda machine is instead milk.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And your dessert, I'm not actually sure what the dessert is.
Peanut butter.
And then it might be. It looks
Yeah.
like a sundae, but obviously it's not. And then in the original, in the food truck one, you have a little toaster where you're making toast, and in this one you're toasting dog bones instead. So it's little cats and dogs,
to
and they
bring
come
out
up in
the
order.
flavor.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
Are there any parrots? Are there birds?
Nope. Cats and dogs
Aw,
only.
Cats and dogs, keeping it
Because I
simple.
love bird friends.
Nope, only cats and dogs.
Bummer. Well, developer of Food Truck Tycoon and Pet Shop Snacks.
I actually looked it up because I wasn't sure.
Please go ahead and make one for birds also.
It should be like the zoo theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baltoro
Chop.
Games SP.Z
That's a fake company. That is a fake company.
Okay, just Baltoro
That's
Games.
not what pops up at the beginning, though.
Oh, really? But that's what it says. It's saying in the shows right there.
Do they
See?
have like a secondary name?
That means it's a
Maybe
fake
so.
company, you
Wait,
guys.
let me look.
Here, that's the. I just pulled up the switches.
Because the thing that pops up at the beginning is,
isn't it like Cool something games?
Yeah.
Or?
Cool Kids Games.
oh hell, what is it called? I guess it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah, but that's what it's saying is the developer is Baltoro. That must have been the publisher than the other one.
Suspicious.
Suspicious.
I'm very suspicious about
Oh, but
that.
it
Their
came out this year,
description.
so they're both like 2019 games, very similar.
their description is great cartoonish graphics,
Fake company. Not
countless
real.
upgrades, countless upgrades. That's a lie.
Yeah, if
There's
you can
only like
count
4
them.
upgrades.
But it is cool though that is like a nice thing though that's different from Overcooked, that you do have the option to change your surrounding, like make it look nicer. So you are doing more than just like either buying new things for your kitchen. You can also like improve the overall look and everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of nice.
Well, and what I need is something. Obviously, I get very addicted to these things, so I need something that is only going to take those few hours.
Right.
Like, if, as you have seen, I could sit and play Mario all freaking day without taking a break because there's so much to do.
Right, right.
It
So many
stresses me out
side
knowing there's still
activities
so
and
much to do. So I need a
Oh,
game
Sam.
that I'm one and done with.
Those short games. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, thank you, Sam, for coming on and sharing her fun news with us. She's gone back to play more of a Truck Tycoon while we do the rest of the episode.
If you're watching the video, you'll have noticed the sudden change. We got hit by
we
the
switched.
tornado of tidiness, and it helped us make everything back to normal.
Yeah, switched our desk around and everything like that. I kind of liked it. Well, no, I didn't like it because I need to get the third chair for next time we have actually
Yeah,
3 people, so
you
I'm
need
not
to
like
actually make
standing
the chair.
awkwardly over everyone.
I like to
but-
build stuff. Let me make the chair.
All
It's
right.
not hard.
I mean, it was just a bunch of screws putting it together. It's very
exactly.
easy. It's
No
just-
excuse, Jared.
But then it's just like once I make it, I have to store it somewhere.
So-
and right now it's just folded up all nice and flat. In
well,
my
don't they actually
closet.
stack on top of each other?
No, not these.
Really?
I don't. You know, I've actually never tried though.
Then that means they stack, and you just haven't tried it. You're a fool. Anyways.
But after she stepped out of the room, she came back in after we were trying to, as we were setting the room back up into the normal configuration. And she actually figured out that there is more DLC for Food Truck Tycoon, which she just purchased. Another 45 levels.
It's also the entire cost of the whole game again.
Yeah, it's just another $2.
$1.99.
So she's actually playing it right now. So
This
we'll
game
get
is
we'll get
becoming
some more updates, I'm sure.
Rapidly unaffordable.
Food Truck Tycoon sweeping the mania is sweeping the nation. We have another game that we want to talk about. This one comes from Mogan, another very popular one.
Indeed. Many people are talking
Took
about
the
this
internet
game.
by storm,
It took the world by storm.
quite literally.
Quite literally. So I did actually finish it when we were doing our streams for Extra Life this year. So I started it on a Friday, played a little bit of it throughout the weekend, and then finished it on a Sunday to give you an idea of how many hours were required.
Okay. So I was going to say, I've always wondered how long this game is.
So I finished it. The game is Untitled Goose Game.
Ah!
Indeed. Honk.
Honk.
I actually can't make a very good goose honk myself, so I'm not going to be able to do that
That's
here
fine.
and now.
It would-
But Untitled Goose Game, a little bit of information if in case you haven't, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard about this amazing game. It's developed by House, published by Panic. The composer is Dan Golding, and it's beautiful little very simple piano score. It's really nice, and it is for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Nintendo Switch. It is not currently for PlayStation or Xbox. I would be surprised if they don't eventually port it, but for now, it's basically PC, Mac, and Switch.
I would imagine, just based off of the success that the game had, that it will come to those.
I
eventually.
hope so, because it's a really fun game. It's not long, which
Yeah.
I would assume means that its development isn't rife with difficulty, so hopefully they'll be able to port it easier than,
I
say,
bet it'd be a
Battlefront.
couple. Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a few months still. I'd say 6 months. I bet we'd get it.
Really? You
3 to
think
6
so?
months. I'd say
all
we'd
right.
get it onto the
We'll
PS4 and
see.
Xbox.
But it actually came out earlier this fall on about September 20th, and I've just now played it. To give you a very brief overview of what it's like, Untitled Goose Game, which now really has a title, but they never changed it, is a stealth puzzle video game developed by House. You control a goose. So you as a player, this is a solely single-player game, you control a goose who bothers the inhabitants of an English village. That's your entire goal. So there are some non-player characters that you're able to interact with, and you have a suite of mechanical abilities, I'll say, that allow you to better cause mischief. Because the entire point of Untitled Goose Game, unlike the vast majority of all other video games, you're not trying to kill anything. You're not really trying to get to like a certain goal per se. Like there is an ultimate goal at the end of the game, but not really. Your entire existence, your whole goosey life is based on the singular task of just making life hell for these poor people that live in this untitled English town.
Which the fact that it takes place in an English village makes it even better that you're causing all this havoc to these gardens, because that's always been the stereotype is that of English gardens being very nice and tidy and everyone wanting to keep it well in order and everything, and then you're just tearing it all to hell.
And if anybody deserves the wrath of a goose, it's the British. They've earned it through their history of scumbaggery. Anyways, so
their reparations are a goose.
Their reparations
laying
are
waste
one goose
to their gardens.
That's what they get. They deserve it. So basically, Untitled Goose Game starts, and you're looking at a blank screen, and the graphics are very simplistic but very bold. So everything is basically just in not necessarily 2D. It does have a slight amount of 3D quality to it, but if you were looking at a single still, it would kind of look like a top-down semi-2D game, because all of the colors are very flat. There is a little bit of shading around the edges. There really aren't bold outlines to everything, so overall it gives both the impression of being a very soft kind of cel-shaded look, and also a very bold, like all the colors like start and end here, and it's very interesting.
It honestly reminds me of the art style of like a kid's book.
Yes, a storybook. That's exactly what I was trying to like get to in my head, but my brain couldn't manage it right now. But it definitely does have that look of like a kid's book. And honestly, if you made Untitled Goose Game into a children's book of like The Unruly Goose or something like that, it would fit right in.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, because doesn't the mouse get like crazy after you give him a cookie and he like goes wild?
Or even to some extent, it's almost like Peter Rabbit. Similar in like Peter Rabbit, like he does cause mischief on the farms and everything.
Indeed.
Or in the gardens and everything.
Well, yeah.
I just feel like Peter Rabbit, doesn't it kind of take like a dark turn?
I don't know.
It's been a while.
I doubt it.
It's
Peter Rabbit.
It's not one that I kept up reading year after year.
On one of our future team chit chats, we'll compare favorite childhood storybooks. That would actually be a really cute one to do because I've got a bunch of them. Anyway, so your tools of your trade as the goose are very simple. So when you are starting the game, you're looking at a blank screen of just like what appears to be a little clearing and maybe like a small forest or park, and you don't see the goose, and all it says is the user interface prompts you to hit Y to honk. So the honk is your very first ability. So on the Switch, which is where I'm playing it, if you hit Y, you just honk. And
That's the only reason that button's there.
It's the only thing that button does.
That's
you
awesome.
just honk and honk and honk. And you can push it as much as you want. You can push it the whole game. And the goose will just continuously honk the whole time. The other thing you can do is, of course, you can waddle. So obviously the analog stick makes you go. If you hold down, I think it's B. If you hold B, that's basically your goosey run. Now, the thing about the run is the goose actually has a terrible turn radius, presumably because it's a goose, and it really doesn't need better explanation than that.
Better swimmer.
Better swimmer than on land, and probably better flyer than on land also. Really just not suited for land. But if you're running as the goose and you try to make like a really sharp turn, you're not going to be able to do it. Like the goose, like when he's running especially, he really has to take these wide turns. So actually, if you tap B to like intermittently run, that allows you to make much sharper turns. So pro tip for future people going to play Goose Game, tap B when you're trying to run so that you can actually make some pretty sharp turns, because otherwise you're going to get caught by people trying to stop you from doing your mischief. So the other tools that you have are, of course, your goose. You're shaped like a goose.
Yeah.
You can't get into every place, but you're pretty small, so you can get into most places. And if you hold down, I think it's ZL, the goose kind of flattens its neck out, and you do like a little, basically, crawl motion. So the goose can crawl, it can honk, it can run, it can walk, and it can flap its wings. So I think if you hold ZR, it kind of like spreads its wings, and then if you run, you look really intimidating and cool. You can't actually fly. I think it's just for show.
That's what I was about to ask. Can you use that to like intimidate people chasing you? Like the farmer comes after you. Could you use that to like kind of scare it away? Because I mean, in real life, geese are kind of aggressive.
They are, yes. So most geese are actually very aggressive, very scary. To the vast majority of people, you wouldn't want to fight a goose if you could avoid it. Mm-hmm. The gardener is pretty tough, so he doesn't, and he's closest to the pond, so he seems to be accustomed to your goosey antics. So he personally seems a little bit like he steeled himself to the goose. So you can't really intimidate the gardener, but there are other people that you can intimidate later. So you start out in a pond, just in what appears to be a really beautifully kept park, and the game is split up into what are essentially 4, technically 5 different levels, and the levels are just various areas of this town. So you start out in the park area, which also includes what appears to be a community garden, because it's just the one gardener, but it's like out in the open. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like a community garden kind of deal. And what you're trying to do, what your real goal is to cause mischief. In each individual area, you can pull up a checklist, which who's writing these checklists for the goose? Is the goose writing them? It's really pretty cursive handwriting. How is he writing the lists? So I have many unanswered questions that Goose Game has not yet addressed, but the point is you have a checklist. And prime example on, I think, the checklist for Area 1, you have maybe 5-6 different tasks, and they include things like get the gardener wet, put a rake in the lake, have a picnic, because there's a picnic blanket out on the grass and you have to gather various items and have your own little goosey picnic. Lock the gardener into the garden or lock him out of the garden. I can't remember which way it is. And one of the others is make the gardener wear his own sun hat, because he starts with like a smart cap, like one of those English derby caps, maybe. Mm-hmm. I actually don't know what you would call it, but he does have a sun hat and you have to make him wear it. And this is where the puzzling aspect of the game comes into play. And I will say right up front, Untitled Goose Game was much harder than I was expecting. Like so I was playing it entirely on stream, and I was like, wow, this is kind of like, depending on how smart or dumb you are, terrible streaming content. Because if you get stuck, you're kind of just stuck. But luckily I had friend of the show and the one who actually requested Goose Game for stream, Ark. She was on stream in chat most of the time with me to give me hints, which honestly I really needed. Some of those parts of the checklist, which are your puzzles, are actually very difficult to understand how you go about doing them if you don't kind of have somebody to be like, you dummy, you do it this way. And then you're like, oh, now I feel silly. But a great example of one of the puzzles being accomplishable through different means is the first one, get the gardener wet. So if you're the goose and you're looking into the community garden and you're like, I'm going to get you. I forgot one of the goose's other key mechanics. You can grab. Sorry about that. So if you hold, I think it's either just L or R. If you hold L or R, the goose will, with its beak, grab whatever is immediately in front of it. So
and that's how you get it to
That's how you get
things.
That's how you gather. That's how you steal. The goose can really pick up the majority of things that you need, but it does have a really nice quality of physics to it, because if you try to pick up something that's way bigger than you and much heavier, the goose has a noticeably difficult time dragging it to wherever he's trying to get it to go. Whereas alternatively, if you pick up like a carrot, he has no problem picking up a carrot and you can just run and gun. So depending on the size and the shape of the object you're trying to get, some things you can't even technically pick up, but you can push them around. For example, a soccer ball, a pumpkin, a cabbage, basically things that are like round that you can very obviously push around.
Yeah.
So you can grab and you can push. Those are your two other mechanics. So let's say that you're trying to get the gardener wet. If you're looking into the community garden, and this is the way I did it, so very slight spoiler for area number 1, you guys, for just one checklist item. Don't worry about it. Outside, there's like a spigot for a faucet, and the goose can turn the spigot. And if he does, then the sprinkler inside the community garden goes off.
Okay.
So if you're like looking into the community garden, you can basically time it to where you wait for the gardener to walk walk into the right area, and then you turn on the sprinkler and he gets wet. Checklist item accomplished. Hooray. But actually, there are other ways to do it too, which I didn't know until I watched somebody else do it. So if the gardener is chasing you, and let's say that you've stolen his keys and you're trying to run away with them, if you run into the lake... If you run into the lake with the keys, he'll briefly follow you. Like, not obviously the whole way in because he's a gardener and he doesn't swim, I guess. But he'll follow you a little way, and if he like goes into the lake, it also counts as getting him wet.
Oh, interesting.
So it's
Okay.
Like, you actually can accomplish certain things in different ways.
So that's interesting. That's very similar in that mechanic just to a game I've played. The Hitman games are actually very similar to that.
So that's really funny
where
that
you have the
mentioned
same
that.
objective, but there are multiple different avenues that you can accomplish it.
Because in the Wikipedia article for Untitled Goose Game, it says, Untitled Goose Game originated from a stock photograph of a goose that a house employee posted in the company's internal communications, which I think is short for somebody found a funny goose picture and posted it in Slack.
Yeah,
I bet you
that's what
$10
that
that's
sounds like.
what they did. But then it goes on to say, this sparked a conversation about geese, but the team put that aside for a few months until they realized that it did actually have the potential to be a fun game. Inspired by Super Mario 64 and the Hitman video game series, House worked on combining stealth mechanics with a lack of violence to create humorous in-game scenarios.
That's awesome.
So that's really funny that you put that together like without being prompted. That's
Well, because
great.
that's what I remembered when I played Hitman. The first one I played, which I think was the Absolution. I think was the first one I played. I just went into it thinking like, oh, okay, I go into these areas. I didn't necessarily understand how much of it was a stealth-based thing, and when I very first started, after I played like the first mission, I was like, oh, okay, I get this now. I'm not supposed to just run in guns ablaze and go crazy.
No.
You can, but that's obviously going to affect your score. But as you go through and you watch the characters like you would watch the gardener, where he's going his path, you can then identify all these other hazards. So you could just shoot somebody. You could wait until they were standing in a puddle of water and you activate an electrical box, because you can see the wire and it zaps them. Or, there's all these different ways you could do it. And so when you mentioned that, I was just like, oh, that sounds just like Hitman.
So it sounds both like Hitman, certain parts of it are kind of akin to like the Dishonored series, just in the stealth aspect.
Right.
So it is very
Gotta
much
stay
like
hidden.
when people see Untitled Goose Game, they might not think like, oh, this is a stealth game, but it super is. It's a puzzler stealth game, and you have to be really careful about what your goose doing.
Because that's what I was going to say. How easy is it for you to be seen?
Some of
and
them
for
are
the gardener
actually
to be alerted?
quite difficult. So, for example, in the garden area specifically, most of the areas are very open, but he does have these big planter boxes in the garden. So if you're on the other side of a planter box, he might not immediately see you. But if you're on the other side of a planter box and you get confused on your controls and you honk, it's going to alert the gardener and he's going to kind of turn around with like a question mark over his head. And if he then sees you, he will chase you and he'll try to get you out of the garden. And you don't really have control over the people, except for maybe one person in particular that is especially terrorized by geese. So most people, when they find you, they will be able to basically shoo you out of their given area. Unless you're able to actually run away, like if you have enough of a lead on them, you can run away. Or if you like have some other path that cuts them off from you. So let's say that you like find a hole through the hedges and you run through the hedges. The gardener can't really follow you, so that's how you can get away. Alternatively, and this is more of like the super stealth aspect, certain parts of the game do actually allow you to just straight up hide. So there's maybe, I want to say they're probably beans. I don't know what crop they are. Something loose enough for the goose to get in there. So there's like this particular planter box that is some sort of kind of tallish plant that you can walk into and like just your little goosey head pops out from above them. So if you then crouch, if you do your goose crouch, you're totally hidden. So like in certain parts of the game you can hide. In other parts there's really nowhere to run. You just have to hope that you aren't seen, or of course you have to follow the track. You have to track the patterns of the people around you and make sure that they don't see you. So if you like kind of walk behind somebody very quietly and very stealthily up to a certain point and then you branch off from them, they might not see you.
Okay.
But if you run right out in front of, say, the owner of the pub, she's definitely going to see you and she's definitely going to try to shoo you out of the pub. So that's the whole point of Goose Game, is you're just trying to accomplish your checklist items, cause as much mayhem as you can in various ways, and ultimately, I won't tell you what the ultimate goal is, but there is one.
Okay. But so, because it's Other than just achieving ultimate mayhem, there's another goal.
Well, there's like a crowning achievement.
Oh, I
of
see.
your,
I see.
Yeah, there's like
Okay.
a final checklist item of
Got
this is how you finish the game.
Okay, and you don't want to say that because
And I don't want to say because it's a very mild spoiler. I will say, though, that once you do accomplish the final achievement on your checklist, it unlocks a whole other bevy of post-game additional content.
That's awesome.
So even though it's the same areas, it's different mayhem causing. So it is really a short game. I would say I probably put in maybe 6 hours, maybe 6 to 8 hours. A lot of it was me being very stupid. And that's
so it'd take me like 10 to 12 because I'm not good at puzzle games.
maybe. And some of them are really opaque. And
Yeah.
it's like you really have to explore your full options. You really have to think outside the box for certain parts. So it's actually a lot of critical thinking. So if you're like, what game should I get for my child that I want to use to make them smarter? Untitled Goose Game. They'll really have to actually use their brain, I promise. So yeah, it's probably about 6 to 8 hours, probably less, honestly, but on first playthrough. That's what I would say is about the amount of content of the initial game. And then once you unlock all of this additional content, depending on how long it takes you, that's probably at least another 4 to 5 hours, I would guess. Maybe even longer. I'm not actually sure because I haven't done them yet.
Okay. So do you think then, for being an independent game and everything and what it's trying to do you think it felt in that time, did that time... Did that amount of hours seem appropriate? Like, were you ever playing it and being like, okay, I kind of understand this. They feel like they're just making this drag to get a longer game, or did it feel very tightly contained?
No,
and like,
it felt
very, very tight in terms of its like what you had to do, its goals and accomplishments, and how much time you actually had to spend to finish.
No, it feels entirely appropriate. And like I said, depending on how smart you are, you might blaze through it. It took me a long time just because of mechanical difficulties. I kept accidentally honking when I meant to not honk.
And sprinting and taking those corners too fast.
Alerting people to my presence. So it definitely feels like an appropriate amount of time for the game, and it does feel like it's worth the cost. So I think full price, like if you don't get it on sale, Goose Game is still only $20, and it probably will at some point go on sale. So
I'm sure, especially now as we're in Black Friday deals and different stuff like that. Like, because this will come out before Black Friday. Yeah. So I'm sure like it'll go on sale and be able to snatch it up if you want.
Untitled Goose Game, it's a really fun time. It's a short time, perfect game to play like for travel and on the go, or even if you're just wanting to have like a more relaxing, big air quotes around that relaxing Sunday afternoon kind of game. I'm putting air quotes on the relaxing because it's stressful.
I would imagine. It sounds like if you can't get those puzzles to work right, you're going to get a little frustrated.
And sometimes you just do them wrong. Like sometimes you know what you're supposed to do, but you just do it wrong, and then you're like, damn it!
I know.
You have to start all over again. I did actually once. This may have actually been a glitch. When I first started the game in the very first area, I did something so wrong that it couldn't be undone. And
I was actually watching when you did this.
I had to restart.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I actually had to. You can just restart an area. So the game does autosave periodically, and you can restart an area at any time while still preserving your other checklist items, I believe, assuming it's actually saved them. So I did something so wrong that I was like, I don't know how to get out of this. And somebody in chat was just like, I think you just have to quit and start over. And that's exactly what I wound up having to do. So you can actually fail, I think, unless that was just a glitch.
Yeah. Just like, but that's kind of weird that would happen. But
well, the problem is that I guess I maybe waited too long, or the game may have just glitched out. I couldn't get the gardener's attention at all. Like, not only could I not get his attention, I couldn't see him. He was not anywhere, and I was still outside of the garden at that point, which is locked.
Oh, so it's like he didn't spawn in right or something.
He wasn't triggering right. I saw him initially, and then I guess it just was. I just went too long. That
sounds like just a random glitch.
Yeah. So, anyways, that first area, if you get stuck and you can't find the gardener anywhere, restart. It might just be a glitch.
Yeah. Well, very cool. So it was a super fun time. You had a lot of fun with the game.
Super fun time.
It's one that when I saw the charm and I saw the appeal, but I don't necessarily think it's one that I would enjoy as much. That's why. But like, it still was fun to watch your stream of it because when you were streaming it, I had Sam watch it because I was like, oh, Sam might like this game and everything like that. And she was curious about it. We did keep it on for the stream and all that stuff. But yeah, I saw that part with the deal. And I was like, into issues. But no, the game overall though, if you're into the puzzlers and everything, it does, and into just goosey mayhem. Seems like a great time.
When you do accomplish your mayhem, you do feel very accomplished. Like whenever I really do something correctly, I like to spread out my wings and then like slowly strut around and honk. That's what I do whenever I'm victorious.
Very nice. So we've talked about the game and everything, and we obviously would love to know all of your thoughts on Untitled Goose Game. Those of you who have played both Untitled Goose Game, Food Truck Tycoon,
No one
or
but Sam.
Pet Shop Snacks.
No one but Sam.
If you've played those games, let us know. We would love to hear about them. And of course, if you've played Untitled Goose Game, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Drop them in the comments below. Send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Comment on our social media. We'd love to chat about games or talk about us with us in the Discord. Lots of different places we can talk about games with you, and we'd love to do it. But since we talked about the game, though, we got to talk about some of the music here for a little bit. So for our soundtrack spotlight, we are going to feature music from Untitled Goose Game. Mogan, which song is coming our way?
You're going to be listening to High Street from producer Dan Golding.
There we go.
A beautiful little piano track. All of the soundtrack is really just acoustic piano, and it's all really delightful and goose appropriate.
I liked it too because it's just like these little, from what we listened to, just little high pitched, just little quick staccato playing of the keys and everything. Just light, like you said, light and airy. It's a wonderful time.
It mirrors the plap, plap, plapping of the goose's little feet.
Perfect. So the High Street from Untitled Goose Game by Dan Golding is our soundtrack spotlight for this week. But that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you all next week. Stick around for the song.